ice crystals. So he didn't have any, you know, it was the Hubble fellow at the planetarium after the lecture with the head of the planetarium. He sat there comfortable, but when the still frames of this second phenomena were shown to him, he stormed out of the room.
Did he say anything? Did he give any reason?
He made some huffs and puffs and stormed out of the room. Now we found, I mean, that's very unusual kind of reversal, and we obtained, we meaning an artist friend and I, who's got more guts than me, I guess, in terms of walking through front doors, which is not supposed to. He picked up the phone after he got the number and phoned this fella, and he got hello, and the second he said who he was, there was back talk, things like, it's that guy, blah, 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 and the phone went down. In other words, communication was cut off.
Not a very good public relations exercise for the...
No, but we found it odd that, you know, these are okay and these aren't. So anyway, that's how it started. So Professor Weinberg, who's a wonderful man, said to me something he's never said to anybody before. He actually sat down, sort of rolled his hands through his head and whatever hair he had, and said, you know, I believe there are things out there, and it's just a matter of an et cetera, et cetera. Well, my friend, my partner, could not believe. He knows this gentleman, has worked through the Canadian Space Agency with him. This Professor Weinberg studies the effects of space travel on the brain.
Right.
And shapes, and whether they, you know, why they come home depressed. Elizabeth Bondar, our famous first woman in space, it isn't generally known in Canada, but she was depressed, massive depression for the first 2 weeks after she landed. And so they really had to study what's going on. Sure. And they found that they were missing, that there was the familiar shapes that we see every day not in the space program. And that's what these people were doing, working with the Canadian Space Agency to suggest putting shapes in parts of the shuttle or redesigning things to familiarity for your subconscious.
Right.
It says they talk to orca whales up there, and they photograph the brain and put pictures in front of you, and then colors flash and they photograph it. It's the only place at the university you can get a parking spot because no one knows it's there. I didn't know, and I went there. So, and he told me things. He said, get another flight, duplicate the phenomena that you've got, duplicate what you did, try to get the 2 different colors, try to get multiple ones in a shot, because the STS-61, I was quite naive, especially this second thing. And so I remembered that, and I recorded the next shuttle, and I knew what I was looking for, and I found it.
You mentioned something to me earlier about the lighting conditions and the fact that you felt they were self-illuminating. Well,
I needed... yes, at first I actually thought, you know, I was my own worst skeptic. I've learned that in television. You know, you don't present anything unless you're totally researched and sure. But I began to discover that these were appearing in dark, when the camera, you know, when the sun went down, when the sun came up, when there was refraction, when there wasn't refraction. I found them under every lighting condition, and my only conclusion from looking at the video and continually looking at it is obviously they're self-illuminating.
Did they change at all under those different lighting conditions when apertures change, or the sun goes down, or the craft's in a different position? Do they appear to be any different?
No, in fact they appear to differ just from every time you capture them. Sometimes you capture them when they seem to have slowed down and you see more of a craft structure. When they're moving very quickly, you'll see this long streak. Right. But the interesting thing is, after after 1,000 of them, and I still photographed them, you lay them side by side and you start to see common things. You start to see markings. You start to see kind of shape. You know, it's not...
So you've almost been able to classify them in a way.
Well, actually, I've been calling them the second phenomena, but the way I see this is everything to date that has been shot by humans from here, from the ground, I call one. That's one. The space phenomena, the spheres, outer space,